Listen to me, this is not a random moment. This is divine. You didn't scroll here by chance. You didn't open this video by accident. I brought you here because what I'm about to say has everything to do with your future, your healing, and your breakthrough. You've been waiting for something, wondering if I've seen the tears, the quiet prayers, the exhaustion. And right now, I need you to hear me with your heart. This blessing has your name on it. Before a single tear left your eye, I already saw it. Before a single prayer left your lips, I had already answered. I do not wait for you to be perfect before I move. I do not wait for your strength to be enough before I act. I move because I love you. I move because I chose you. And I need you to know that I am not starting now. This blessing, the one you've been praying for, was already set in motion before you even knew to ask. You thought I was silent. You thought I was still. But child, I was orchestrating. I was shifting hearts, preparing places, lining time. You couldn't see it because I hid the work so it wouldn't be stolen. But while you were wondering if I'd forgotten, I was already preparing the answer. Before the question was on your tongue, I had already written the response in my glory. This blessing is not something you have to beg for. You don't have to convince me to care. I've always cared. I've always been ahead of your pain, ahead of your need, ahead of your timeline. You are not behind schedule, you are exactly where I need you to be. So the blessing I placed in motion can now find you. You will look back and realize that every delay, every not yet, was actually a wait. Here, I'm on the way. I have not left you empty-handed. I'm the God who prepares before I reveal. And this moment is where the revealing begins. Let your heart open, because what I placed in motion is now arriving. Do you know what I see when I look at you? Not failure, not delays, not wasted years. I see promise. I see purpose. I see my own handwriting across your destiny. In heaven, there is a gift that carries your name not just symbolically, but literally. Etched into eternity, reserved for you and only you. No demon in hell can touch it. No person on earth can steal it. No mistake you've made can erase it. You think you missed too much. You haven't missed what I have marked. You think someone else got ahead of you. No one can outrun what's divinely assigned. What's yours cannot be confused for someone else's. I wrapped this gift in grace. I sealed it in mercy. I protected it with my authority. And now, I am bringing it from heaven into your hands. I didn't forget. I didn't overlook you. I've just been guarding what's sacred. This isn't an ordinary blessing. This one has been hidden for a reason. Because it's meant to change your atmosphere, your relationships, your assignment, and your vision. I'm not just giving you something, you're stepping into something. Something that proves I still speak. Something that proves I still see you. Your name is not lost in a crowd. I know your name because I gave you your name. And I'm attaching that name to this blessing. When it arrives, it will fit. It will feel like coming home. It will be peace to your chaos and clarity to your confusion. You won't have to strive for it. You won't have to explain why you deserve it. It's already yours. Because I made it that way. So be still and trust I never miss what has your name written on it. You wondered why you had to face so much pain. Why the nights felt so long and the storms refused to pass. You looked at others with less devotion, fewer prayers, and easier lives, and questioned if I had overlooked you. But listen to me, none of it was in vain. Every drop of pain was not just endured, it was invested. Every storm you weathered, every disappointment you survived, was not wasted. I allowed rain to fall not to break you, but to prepare something far greater underneath the surface. While you were walking through darkness, I was nurturing the seeds I planted in the soil of your soul. You thought the drought would never end, but I was using that dryness to make you thirst for what only I could give. I allowed you to be emptied, so I could fill you with something new, something holy. I know it was hard. I saw the days where you smiled in public but cried alone. I was there, not just watching, but collecting every tear and turning them into rivers that would water your promise. You thought you were buried, but you were being planted. And now, the time of blooming is here. The harvest is not far, it's already pushing through the cracks of your last heartbreak. You have no idea how many miracles are already moving toward you. You didn't waste your strength. You sowed it. You didn't lose your time. You invested it. You didn't break down for nothing. That breaking made room for blessings that can only take root in surrendered soil. I know the wind was fierce, but it was clearing space. I know the clouds were thick, but they were preparing the ground. What others called losses, they called layers of grace. And now, what has been growing silently will rise suddenly. Your season of sorrow was never empty, it was drenched in purpose. And that purpose is about to unfold in ways you can't yet see, but you will soon live in. There were moments you felt stripped, like pieces of your life were being pulled from your hands without explanation. You called it failure. You labeled it loss. You assumed it meant you were being left behind, forgotten, abandoned. But I need you to see through my eyes now. I allowed what you thought was subtraction to be divine redirection. I never take from you without purpose. I shift things so that what's meant for your next season isn't buried under what could have destroyed you. You weren't being punished. You were being positioned. When I removed what you were clinging to, it wasn't to leave you empty, it was to make room for something that couldn't enter until that space was cleared. You see, what you once cried over, you will soon thank me for. Because what you couldn't understand then will become undeniable soon. I saw the end while you were only staring at the middle. I allowed what fell apart so I could rebuild on solid ground. I saw what you didn't see, motives behind smiles, hidden traps behind open doors, slow poisons in places you called safe. And while you mourned what left, I celebrated what I just saved you from. It wasn't rejection. It was my redirection. I blocked it because I love you too much to let you settle for less than what you were made for. I'm not done. I'm just getting started. What you thought was a collapse, I've used as a foundation. You're not off course, you're right where I've guided you. Now, watch as the very things that wounded you become the very path that lifts you. I will make it clear that what left was not your ending, it with a doorway to your true beginning. You were never falling apart. You were being rearranged. And the pieces are now forming a picture of glory that only I could paint. Trust what I've taken. Trust where I've placed you. Because this blessing won't rest on broken ground, it needed the shift to settle exactly where it belongs. In your life. You mistook my quietness for absence. You assumed that because I didn't speak, I wasn't working. But my beloved, I do my deepest work in silence. While you sat in rooms filled with questions, I was in the halls you hadn't entered yet, placing your name on doors that once refused to open. I was crafting conversations about you in places you've never been. I was softening hearts of decision-makers before you ever filled out the application. I was preparing the hearts of people you haven't even met, people whose assignment is to bless you, favor you, support you. Yes, I know it felt like nothing was moving. But I don't need noise to perform miracles. I don't need applause to write destiny. You assumed nothing was happening because you didn't see it, but I was moving in dimensions that don't operate in sight. I was bending timelines, aligning opportunities, shifting atmospheres, all for you. Doors that others were denied, I reserved for your touch. Rooms that once ignored your name are now being reordered to welcome it. I've placed something upon you that can't be explained, only revealed. It's my mark. It's my covering. It goes ahead of you, even when you feel behind. You haven't been standing still. I've just been accelerating your future in ways hidden from your natural eyes. You thought my silence was delay, but it was design. Because if I had revealed what I was doing too early, pride would have tried to sabotage it, fear would have chased it away, and doubt would have made you forfeit it. So I waited. Quietly, lovingly, patiently. And now, the doors I've marked with your name are beginning to unlock. And when they do, they won't creak, they'll swing. Wide. Open. You'll walk in without effort, because I already cleared the resistance. You'll sit at tables where your voice will be needed, not just tolerated. You'll step into spaces that once made you feel invisible and now find honor waiting with open hands. I never stopped preparing the way. I only needed you to keep walking in faith while I worked in the unseen. And now, what was once locked tight is being opened, not because of who you are, but because of whose you are. There's something I need you to understand now. Not everything that feels slow is stalled. I am not bound by earthly timelines, and I don't measure readiness the way the world does. You looked at the clock. You looked at the calendar. And you assumed that because it hadn't come yet, it must have been held back. But my child, what I have planned for you was never late. It was preserved. I didn't keep it from you. I kept it for you. I shielded it not because you were unworthy, but because you were still growing into the strength to hold it with wisdom. I love you too much to place something powerful into hands that are still healing. I saw the pressure it would bring. I knew the voices it would attract. And while you cried out for the blessing, I was focused on your character. Because I care more about your foundation than your platform. You wanted to rise. I wanted you rooted. You asked for increase. I answered with intimacy. While others rushed ahead, I brought you deeper, not to delay you, but to anchor you. And now that your roots have reached the living water, now that your heart has learned to trust me even in drought, I can release what was waiting. It's not just about the gift, it's about the strength to steward it. Blessings come with weight, and I refuse to watch you collapse under what I could have taught you to carry. So I waited. And when you thought nothing was happening, everything was being aligned. Your mindset shifted. Your dependence deepened. Your worry matured. You didn't even realize how much stronger you became in the hidden place. But I saw it. And now, I trust you with what I've kept under guard. This isn't just a moment, it's a mantle. What I'm about to place in your life is not a temporary high. It's a calling sealed with purpose. And it had to wait until your spirit could recognize the weight of glory it carries. That time is now. This is not the end of delay, this is the fulfillment of divine timing. I never forgot. I never withheld. I was preparing the blessing and the vessel. And now, they meet. There were moments when you could have walked away, when the easier road whispered your name and compromise looked convenient. There were days when staying faithful cost you comfort, when saying yes to me meant saying no to things that glittered but carried no glory. I saw every one of those decisions. You didn't realize it then, but heaven stood still when you chose me in secret. When you resisted temptation. When you turned down opportunities that didn't carry my presence. When you gave up what others chased because you valued my voice above popularity, above applause, above recognition. You weren't just enduring, you were building something sacred with me. And I, your Lord, never forget loyalty. I never overlook obedience. I remember every time you chose trust over control, humility over pride, surrender over striving. And now, I'm about to show you what I do for those who choose me first. This isn't a reward you earned, it's a revelation of my heart toward you. I'm lifting you now, not to make you admired, but to make my presence visible through you. I'm setting you apart so that my favor will be the light that draws others home. You didn't chase position, so I'm giving you one you didn't ask for. You didn't demand spotlight, so I'm placing you where your life becomes a testimony of grace. I will elevate you not above others, but above the limitations that tried to hold you down. This lifting will come with striving. It will come with ease. You will see me open doors, expand influence, increase provision, not because you shouted for attention, but because you whispered yes when no one was looking. That's what I honor. And this blessing that is rising in your life, it's not just for you. It's to show others what happens when a heart stays pure, when a life stays yielded, when a soul says, "Yes, Lord," again and again. Your yes has reached my throne. And now, I'm answering with increase you did expect, with access you did pursue, and with visibility that won't glorify you but will reveal me in you. You've wondered if I passed you by. You've stared at unanswered prayers and quiet seasons, thinking maybe you slipped through the cracks. But let me tell you now, with all the power of heaven behind these words, I have never forgotten you. Not for a second. You were on my mind when you cried yourself to sleep. You were on my heart when you felt overlooked. I wasn't ignoring you, I was investing in your future. Because what I'm about to place in your hands is more than you imagined, and it required deeper preparation than you realized. I didn't want the weight of the blessing to crush you, so I allowed time to mold you. I didn't want the overflow to overwhelm you, so I allowed you to grow capacity through every challenge. If I had released it too soon, it could have felt like a burden instead of a miracle. You would have called a blessing too much because you hadn't yet learned to carry it in peace. That's why I waited. Not to tease you, but to build you. I needed your identity to be rooted in who I say you are, not in what I give you. I needed your joy to be anchored in my presence, not in outcomes. So that when the breakthrough comes, you won't worship the gift, you'll worship the giver. The process wasn't punishment, it was protection. You weren't denied, you were being developed. You don't see it yet, but the strength you have now is the very strength that will keep you grounded when elevation comes. Your vision is clearer. Your discernment is sharper. Your trust in me is no longer shallow, it's unshakable. That is what I was shaping. And now, because you've allowed me to work in the dark, I can release what I've been preparing in the light. It won't break you. It won't drown you. It will fit. It will lift. It will build, not burden. And when it arrives, you will understand why it had to be this way. I never forgot. I was preparing the blessing for you and preparing you for the blessing. And now both are ready. You've been measuring the silence in months and the delays in years. You've told yourself maybe this is what it looks like when you've done something wrong, maybe that's why I haven't moved yet. But hear me now, child. I wasn't punishing you. I was preparing you for something that lasts. I know the world rushes. I know people told you that if it was meant for you, it would have happened by now. But I don't operate on human clocks. I don't build flimsy futures that collapse under pressure. What I do in your life, I do with eternity in mind. I wasn't giving you less, I was preparing to give you more than you thought possible. The wait wasn't a denial. It was a blessing wrapped in disguise. I needed to slow down your steps so I could secure your foundation. Because what I have for you is not a moment of happiness, it's a life of joy rooted in me. I didn't want to give you something that would fade after a season. I wanted to give you something that would remain even when seasons change. You didn't lose time, you gained depth. You didn't miss out, you were being fortified. I was removing distractions, healing wounds, shifting your focus, and deepening your hunger for things that truly satisfy. I was teaching your heart how to hope without conditions, how to praise without proof, how to stand when everything felt still. You've learned how to sing in the silence, how to wait with your eyes on me, and how to believe even when you felt barren. That kind of faith can't be shaken. That kind of joy doesn't come and go. It becomes part of you. And now, the time you thought was wasted will prove to be the very reason your blessing is unshakable. Because now, when it comes, it won't change you, it will confirm you. You'll recognize it not as luck, but as legacy. You'll handle it with gratitude instead of pride. And that's what makes it permanent. I don't just give blessings, I anchor them in joy. And joy, real joy, comes from knowing that even when it took longer than expected, I never left your side. Every moment of waiting was a thread I used to weave your testimony. And that testimony is about to be revealed in full color. What's ahead isn't a temporary fix, it's the joy you were born for. And this time, it won't slip through your hands. Do you remember the place where your voice trembled in prayer? Where you pleaded for even the slightest opening, where your hands were weary from knocking, and your soul was drenched in quiet desperation? I remember. I was right there beside you, not just watching but feeling. Every tear that fell, I caught. Every whisper of hope I heard. You believed you were ignored, but the truth is, I was counting every cry a seed. Seed that would one day grow into access. And that day is now. I have seen your persistence. I've seen you return to the same door again and again, not in stubbornness, but in faith. You kept showing up when there was no sign of movement. You stayed on your knees when others ran after shortcuts. You didn't break in. You didn't walk away. You waited for me to open it. And now, with my authority, I am turning the handle on the very thing you thought was sealed shut forever. Not because you forced your way through, but because you trusted me to hold the key. The door you once wept at will now become the doorway you walk through with confidence. And this time, it won't be temporary. This time, you won't be peeking and you'll be living in what you once only imagined. You'll step into opportunities you didn't orchestrate, platforms you didn't pursue, and places you never thought would be available to someone like you. But this isn't about qualifications, it's about obedience. It's not about worthiness, it's about my will. And I'm choosing now to reveal that your knocking was never ignored. It was aligning you, preparing you, teaching you to value the door before I opened it. Because now, you won't take it for granted. You won't use it to glorify yourself. You'll walk through it with humility, with reverence, with a deeper understanding of who opened it and why. This is a divine unlocking. The lock was never broken. The timing just wasn't ready. But today, the latch lifts. The light spills out. And your feet, weary as they are, will find strength as they cross into the promise you only used to cry for. No more standing outside. The door is open, and it has your name on it. You've heard the whispers behind your back. You've seen the raised brows, the quiet judgments, the subtle dismissals. You know what it feels like to be overlooked, misunderstood, and underestimated. There were those who spoke as if your future had already been decided, as if your current condition was permanent, as if your delays were evidence that I had withdrawn my hand. But child, they didn't know what I was doing in the silence. They judged your story while I was still writing it. They measured your worth by what they could see, not realizing that I was forming a miracle in the places hidden from human eyes. And now, I am preparing to display something so undeniable in your life that even your critics will have to pause. Not to worship you, but to acknowledge me in you. What I'm about to unfold will speak louder than explanations. You won't have to defend your journey. You won't have to justify the season of waiting. You won't need to revisit the words that wounded you. I am going to do something that will make all those voices fade, not by force, but by the weight of my glory. I've seen how you held your tongue when you could have fought back. I've watched you choose peace over proving a point. You stayed quiet, but I never stopped listening. And now, I will answer for you. The blessing I bring will echo louder than any slander. The transformation in your life will silence the scoffers without you lifting a single word. You won't need to pose about it. You won't need to prove it. My favor will speak. My hand will rest on you so visibly that no accusation can stand against it. The same mouths that dismissed you will be left speechless. Not from shame, but from awe. Because I'm not just vindicating you, I'm revealing my faithfulness in you. They thought you were finished. They didn't see the covenant I placed over your life. But now they will. And when they look at you, they will see me. Not because you've arrived, but because you endured. You trusted me when it didn't make sense. And now, the fruit of that trust will bloom in full view. Let the voices come. Let the doubts rise. My blessing will be louder than all of them. And you, my beloved, will be lifted, not by your own hand, but by mine. There is something sacred about a life that lets me speak first. You spent so long trying to stay silent while others misunderstood you, trying to walk in grace while being overlooked, trying to remain gentle while the world pushed you to defend yourself. But I've seen it. And now, I need you to understand what's coming. You will no longer need to explain why you belong. You won't have to wrestle with proving your value, your calling, or your identity. I am placing something upon you that speaks louder than arguments. Favor. Real favor. Not the kind that people manufacture, not the kind that comes from status or strategy. I'm talking about heaven-authored, spirit-driven, God-revealed favor. It goes before you like a wind others can't see but can't ignore. It makes a way when facts say no. It opens doors before you knock. It causes others to listen to you, even when you say little. You'll walk into rooms and hearts will already be softened. Decisions will be shifted before you sit down. Where you used to strive for approval, now you will be received with honor that you didn't ask for. Not because you're chasing it, but because I've assigned it to chase you. You won't have to make people see your worth. They'll see me on you. That's the difference. You chose character over clout. And now, character is producing fruit that nothing artificial can replicate. I'm going to make the works of your hands speak in places your words never reached. I will bless your name, not because you sought fame, but because you lifted my name when no one was watching. That's what I elevate. That's what I breathe on. And now, watch how everything connected to you begins to reflect the covering I've placed over your life. Your name will be brought up in conversations you were never part of because favor travels where you haven't yet arrived. Your story will be told in circles you never entered because favor speaks in the spaces your voice hasn't touched. And the most beautiful part, you won't have to raise your voice to defend it. I will raise mine through the outcomes, the influence, the peace, the fruit that surrounds you. People will ask, how did this happen? And the only answer you'll have is, God did it. Because it won't be your hustle. It won't be your resume. It will be the quiet, undeniable evidence that I walk with you. And where I walk, favor flows. I'm not only blessing you for your sake, I'm blessing you so others can be reached through you. What I pour into your life is never meant to stay contained. It's meant to flow, to spill, to reach places your feet may never even touch. What I'm doing now in your story will have a ripple effect far beyond your imagination. Because I'm not only writing a testimony for you, I'm releasing transformation through you. There are people attached to your breakthrough. There are families that will find healing because of what I do in you. There are generations that will change course because of the obedience you've chosen in this season. You think I'm just answering your prayer, but I'm also answering the silent cries of people around you who don't yet know how to speak my name. When I elevate you, I am raising up a light that others will be drawn to, not to admire you, but to encounter me. You will become a living invitation. The blessing coming your way will carry evidence, and that evidence will be impossible to ignore. It will soften hard hearts. It will inspire discouraged souls. It will waken open people who had given up. And they will come to you not because you're perfect, but because they'll see peace where there used to be panic. They'll see provision where there once was struggle. They'll see joy where sorrow tried to take root. That shift will be undeniable. You are a vessel, not a vault. I'm filling you so that you overflow, not with exhaustion, but with an abundance that stretches into the lives of the hurting, the hungry, and the hopeless. I'm about to expand your impact not because you begged for influence, but because you became trustworthy with private victories. What you've built in the quiet will soon be used in the crowd. And when they ask how, you'll say, "It wasn't me, it was him." This blessing carries oil, holy oil that will drip off your life and mark those who come near. They'll feel peace just being in your presence. They'll sense light even in your silence. Because what I'm doing isn't just physical, it's spiritual. And it cannot be contained. When I bless completely. And when I release my favor, it doesn't just fall on one head, it flows through generations. Your children will walk in a new fun for. Your friends will feel the shift. Your atmosphere will change because I will inhabit the very space you dwell in. And from that place, the overflow begins. When I move, I leave no room for coincidence. I do things in such a way that it cannot be explained by logic, timelines, or luck. I bypass what's expected and interrupt what's ordinary. And what I'm preparing to do in your life is going to carry such weight, such clarity, such awe, that your only response will be, "This had to be God." Not because you planned it so perfectly, not because you had all the right connections, but because the way it happens will defy your plans entirely. I've been setting the stage not for a small improvement, but for a display of my glory. Not so you would be impressed, but so your faith would be revived. Because I know how long you've been holding on, how many times you stood on promises that felt like distant echoes. I know how many times you've watched others receive while you waited quietly, telling yourself that maybe you were next, maybe tomorrow, maybe soon. But now, I am shifting that hope into reality. I am turning the unseen into seen. And I am doing it in such a way that your testimony will sound like a story no one can explain, only believe. You won't be able to trace it back to your effort or intelligence. You'll look at the doors I opened and realize that even your boldest dreams weren't this detailed. You'll stand in places you never imagined and wonder how you got there, and I will remind you, grace carried you. You'll meet people you once thought were unreachable, and they'll call you by name, and I will whisper, "This is favor." You'll see provision that doesn't match your qualifications, and I will say, "This is inheritance." Because this was never about you earning it, it was always about me revealing myself through you. I'm going to shut the mouths of doubt, not with arguments, but with undeniable outcomes. Even those who left you behind will watch, stunned, as I bring you into places that seem sealed shut. And you won't boast in your journey. You'll bow in gratitude. You won't point to your strength. You'll lift your hands to me. This will not just be your miracle, it will be your altar. A place where your heart finally understands that I was never withholding, I was preparing. That I wasn't ignoring, I was orchestrating. And when the moment comes, when the impossible becomes real, your soul will overflow with one truth that can't be shaken. Only God could have done this. And that truth will echo through your life like a psalm that never ends. Before the foundations of the world, before your first breath, before a single heartbeat of your life began, I wrote your name into my plans. Not in ink that fades, not in words that change with conditions. I wrote it in eternal authority. And attached to that name was something sacred. A blessing, a destiny, a purpose uniquely crafted for you. It has waited through seasons, endured through trials, stood unshaken through delay, and now it begins to move toward you. Not because of chance, and certainly not because of human permission. It moves because I said it would. And when I speak, no power in hell can intercept what I release. No lie, no opposition, no betrayal, no closed door, no system, no mistake has the strength to erase what I have already sealed. You feared that maybe too much time has passed, that maybe you missed it, that maybe others took what was meant for you. But hear me now, child, what has your name on it cannot be stolen. It cannot be reassigned. I'm not in the business of confusion. I'm the God of completion. And I will complete what I began in you. That promise I made, it still stands. The assignment you thought disqualified from, it's still active. The dream that keeps resurfacing in the depths of your heart, that's me reminding you, because I'm not done. I'm just getting started. And what's coming will not require you to compete, to chase, or to compromise. It will come to you because you are in alignment with my timing. You are walking in surrendered trust. You've been refined in fire so the glory won't break you, it will carry you. And now, the blessing is moving freely, unhindered, unblocked. Because I removed the weights. I silenced the noise. I put back what was pressing in. And now, it flows. Yes, this blessing is specific. It's not general favor floating around hoping to land somewhere. It's assigned to your story, tailored to your spirit, woven into your very identity. That's why it couldn't come through anyone else. It's designed for your hands, your heart, your influence. And as it unfolds, you will realize that I never forgot. I was holding it, guarding it, waiting until the moment it could be delivered into the hands that are now ready to receive. The heavens have already shifted. The atmosphere has changed. And what I've released, no one can reverse. Not even your past, So stand tall, not in pride but in holy confidence. Lift your eyes not to what's around you, but to me. Because I, the Lord your God, declare this with finality. This blessing, yes, this one has your name on it. And nothing, and no one, can stop what I've already released into motion. Amen.